it was triggered by this issue of the new scientist, which is this topic: is the universe conscious? Is the universe conscious? And the subtitle says it sounds implausible, but that's until you do the math. It sounds implausible, but that is until you do the math. So now that Demetrius, thank you again for informing me that this is loud and clear. Okay, this is a very important topic, and is the universe conscious? And how do we really find out? What's the real lowdown on this? How do we really find out? Ourselves, experientially. My answer, by the way, is the universe is conscious, yes and no, both at the same time. So let's discuss this idea, okay? Let's discuss this idea of the conscious universe. Let me share with you first something that actually some of you may or may not be familiar with. So the eminent militant atheist, I think you know who I'm talking about, Richard Dawkins, who has basically stalked me now for 20 years. He's a self-professed militant atheist, and he also is one of the most eminent apostles of scientism. Scientism is a religion, and science is a methodology, but apparently he doesn't understand that. But notwithstanding that, the only reason I bring it up is that a few years ago I engaged with him in a debate in Mexico. He was reluctant to debate me because, it was beneath his dignity to debate a pseudoscientist who spouts pseudo-profound bullshit. But nevertheless, I think he was paid well, so he came along. And during the debate, I referred to Freeman Dyson, the great physicist who just passed away recently, I think, around the age of 94 or 95. Freeman Dyson was one of the last great physicists whose career goes back to the time of Einstein. And I made a quote from Freeman Dyson's book, Infinite in All Directions. And the quote was in reference to the idea that in that book, Freeman Dyson had suggested that consciousness pervades all of space-time. There's a quote in the end of the book, Infinite in All Directions, which says, every quantum experiment forces the atom to make a choice. In any case, when I used that quote in the debate in Mexico, Richard lost his temper, screamed at me and said, Freeman Dyson could not have said that, and even if he did, he's wrong. And then he said, he should sue you. And at a certain point, he also asked, he accused me that no one understood me, and I asked the audience if they did, and they said yes, and he pointed to them and said, you're lying. Anyway, that's a very interesting side digression, interlude. But in any case, I ended up writing to Freeman Dyson and asking him what his thoughts were about consciousness in the universe. And Freeman Dyson answered in an email, which was beautiful. And he said, 3 riddles have perplexed me all my life. 3 riddles. The first riddle, the unpredictable movement of atoms. By the way, it's interesting that he chose the word unpredictable instead of random. There's a deep difference between the two. Okay, random means inherently random. Unpredictable means unpredictable to the human observer, as far as I know. So 3 riddles have puzzled me all my life, said Freeman Dyson. The first is the unpredictable movement of atoms. The second is a universe fine-tuned for mind and life, mathematically fine-tuned for mind and life. And the third is our own consciousness. And Dr. Dyson ended the email by saying, I don't know the answers to these riddles, but they are definitely, in my mind, somehow connected. That was the end of that story, but it set me on the path to thinking. And since that debate, a philosophy has emerged in consciousness studies called Panpsychism, which means that mind and matter are inseparable from atom to universe, from atom to galaxy. I personally think panpsychism is an incomplete theory because it presumes the existence of matter. So, panpsychists say that consciousness is organized matter, but it presumes the existence of matter. Nevertheless, panpsychism is a great advance from what we might call physicalism. Okay, physicalism. What is physicalism? Physicalism means that the ontological primitive of the universe is matter. Now, of course, no one has ever encountered a substance called matter. All we encounter is our perceptions and the interpretation of our perceptions. So panpsychism, while a useful construct, in my mind, is not true. Therefore, this article is in a sense misleading. Once again, this article, in a sense, is misleading. Is the universe conscious? No. The universe is an experience in consciousness. And the universe is an experience in non-local consciousness. But the universe that you and I see is actually a human construct for the interpretation of perceptual activity in the human mind, which is only one aspect of non-local consciousness. So the universe is not conscious. The universe is conceived, constructed, governed, and comes into being as an experience in consciousness. I hope that's clear. Please let me know if that seems clear to you. But having said that, this theory is gaining a lot of traction, principally because of the work of a scientist, I think he's a neuroscientist, Giulio Tonini. So let me read a little bit from this magazine to tell you the current state of knowledge of what is usually referred to as panpsychism. So the article is by science journalist Michael Brooks. It says, here, there, everywhere. They call it the unreasonable effectiveness of mathematics. Physicist Eugene Wigner coined the phrase in the 1960s to encapsulate the curious fact that merely by manipulating numbers we can describe and predict all manner of natural phenomena with astonishing clarity, from the movement of planets and the strange behavior of fundamental particles to the consequences of a collision between two black holes billions of light years away. Now some are wondering if maths, in England they say maths, in America they say math. If maths can succeed where all else has failed, unraveling whatever it is that allows us to contemplate the laws of nature in the first place. It's a big ask. The question of how matter gives rise to felt experience is one of the most vexing problems we know. we know of. And sure enough, the first fleshed out mathematical model of consciousness, mathematical model, important. And remember, mathematics is an activity in the consciousness of mathematicians. Without consciousness, there's no math. Math is a product of consciousness. Nevertheless, this is how scientists work. But as mathematics works to hone and extend their tools for peering deep inside ourselves, they're confronting some eye-popping conclusions. Not least, what they are uncovering seems to suggest that if we are to achieve a precise description of consciousness, we may have to ditch our intuitions and accept that all kinds of inanimate matter could be conscious. Once again, I object to that because there's no such thing as inanimate matter. Matter is a human construct for a human perceptual activity. But nevertheless, the article says maybe even the whole universe as matter could be conscious. This could be the beginning of a scientific revolution, says Johann Kleiner, a mathematician at the Munich Center for Mathematical Philosophy in Germany. Okay, so I'm not going to read the rest of the article, but basically they point to a new theory called integrated information theory from Giulio Tonini. And they point how it works in explaining how integrated information ultimately leads to conscious experience. The integrated information theory is also called IIT. And the article itself says IIT is less convincing when it comes to some details. Phi, which is the formula for integrated information, the integrated information quotient, if you will. So phi should decrease when you go to sleep or are sedated by a general anesthetic, for instance. But work in Bohr's lab has shown, this is not Bohr, B-O-H-R, somebody else, B-O-R. Bohr's lab has shown that it doesn't. It either goes up or stays the same. And explaining why information flow gives rise to an experience such as the smell of coffee is problematic. IIT frames conscious experience as the result of conceptual structures in consciousness, of course. Where else could conceptual structures be? That are shaped by the arrangement of parts of the relevant network, but many find the explanation convoluted and unsatisfying, as do I. So is the universe conscious? No. Panpsychism is not true. So what do I think, and what I think and other physicists, a few of them, and Don Hoffman, the cognitive scientist, says the universe is not conscious. You are conscious. You are the universe. In other words, the universe comes into existence as a perceptual experience in human consciousness as the human universe. But there are as many universes as there are states of being, and there are as many universes as there are species of consciousness as well. And every species of consciousness, which means every sentient being, constructs its own universe, conceives, governs, constructs, and becomes its own universe. Furthermore, the human universe is based on mathematical calculations that panpsychism results to, but it needs to be understood that mathematics and the theories of panpsychism are also conceived, constructed, governed, and come into being in consciousness. You cannot explain the universe through a theory that is constructed in human consciousness without knowing what human consciousness is. And so when people start talking about integrated information and panpsychism, there are problems because you have to understand what information is, what energy is, what matter is, and information, energy, and matter are all human constructs for modes of knowing and experience in human consciousness. So the human mind, actually the conditioned human mind, which has perceptual activity, which is within a very narrow bandwidth of experience. So the universe that we experience is, technically speaking, an illusion. It's in Vedanta, it's called Jagat Mithya. Jagat means universe, world appearance. Mithya, world appearance. Maya. And I've mentioned before, the word Maya is the same as the word matrix, which is that Maya is the modification of consciousness into a perceptual activity that we humans label as the universe. We also label it as the body. So with this understanding, we need to go beyond panpsychism into fundamental non-duality. There is only consciousness. And there is knowing and experience in consciousness. And the knowing and experience in consciousness gives rise to mathematical theories, gives amongst mathematicians and philosophers. It gives rise to these theories called integrated information. But information is a derivative of consciousness, not the source of consciousness. Information, technically defined, is the resolution of uncertainty. So information cannot give rise to consciousness. Consciousness gives rise to information, as does consciousness gives rise to energy and what we call matter. Matter, energy, and information are different modes of knowing and experience that are inferentially suggesting that consciousness is the fundamental reality. But as I've said many times before, I've said it so many times before, that you cannot explain the source of experience and human constructs by a fragmented knowing of experience which gives rise to human constructs. It's like trying to explain a dream with a dream. Can't do it. Okay, so as we go experientially into our own self, we discover that we are the universe. Experientially, not intellectually. In fact, intellectual mistakes hinder our knowledge of reality, even empirical facts, because empirical facts are a species-specific mode of knowing and observation based on a species-specific mode or methodology of experimentation. In fact, if anything, empirical facts hide the wholeness of truth by looking at a fragmented snapshot of truth, which by the time you experience it doesn't exist anymore. Anyway, so as we navigate this territory in the future, let's remember one very important aphorism from the Shiva Sutras. Actually, no, not from the Shiva Sutras. I think it's from Khemraja, who was a commentator on Buddhism, but a non-dualist. He said, meditate on your body as the universe and having the nature of awareness. Meditate on your body as the universe and having the nature of awareness. What does that mean? Well, we know everything that we call reality, including the universe, is some form of experience in the body. A sensation, a sense perception, an image, a feeling, a thought, an emotion. Is some kind of experience in the body. It seems to be in the body. It's registered as a neural correlate in the brain, but even the neural correlate in the brain is an experience in human consciousness. So, what is the key? Give up the identity that you are a body. Because as long as you think you are a body, then you will see other objects and other bodies. But the body is not a noun, it's a verb. It's a constantly shifting panorama of qualia shuffling. Sensations, images, feelings, thoughts, perceptions. So shift your allegiance from the body to that in which the body and the mind and the universe is known. which is consciousness. Take a stand, become a witnessing awareness identity, and ultimately let that fall and transcend to pure consciousness, infinite possibilities, infinite universes, infinite modes of knowing, infinite things known, infinite knowers, all within one infinite pure consciousness, self-organizing, self-evolving, self-regulating, huge, enormous, unfiltered, non-conceptual, non-interpretive wholeness of being. In that non-interpretive wholeness of being is not only the key to knowing yourself as the universe, and recognizing that the universe is not conscious. It is you that gives the universe that label. Not bad for a start. Panpsychism is making progress. But panpsychism is not true. You are the universe as pure consciousness and silent witnessing awareness, and there is no compromise to that. None whatsoever. So meditate on your body as the universe and having the nature of awareness. So yesterday and today was Guru Purnima, where we pay homage to the Guru. That's why I'm wearing this shirt. This is, see the Guru here? The sage, the seer, who bypasses the mistake of the intellect and directly downloads the knowing and the wisdom of the total universe. Sing, dance, laugh. DJ Pride. Absolutely. I'm reminded of a poem, those seen dancing in the dark were thought to be mad by those who could not hear the music. The music of the universe is a celestial symphony, the symphony of the universe being played out inside you. We dance to this symphony. It's called our biological rhythms. We dance to this symphony even though we cannot hear the tune. Shubnam Gupta says, what happened to you, sir? No, nothing happened. I'm just feeling awake. I guess that's it for today. Anand Johnny says Zen. Yeah, the word Zen and the word zone and the word Dhyan and the word Dharana are related. All mean meditation. Amy Davis, similar to Greek philosophy, to the Hermetic philosophy. Not all Greek philosophy has all kinds of branches, but yes, to the Greek Hermetic philosophy. Frequently attributed to Hermes Megistus, who was Greek or Egyptian, we don't know, or something like that. Okay, my friends, see you tomorrow or soon. Take care, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars, and recognize that the whole universe exists inside you. Ask all from yourself. Look into another's eyes and see the whole universe, not yet born. That's from Tagore. Take care. Not true.